Good evening, students. Tonight we're talking about cause and effect, and our goals are RI 5.3 and RI 4.3. I can identify the cause and effect relationships with a story or passage. Okay, so here we go. Let's take a look what this means. So in your craft folder, I want you to find C, and under C, for comprehension, you're going to write cause and effect. Okay? And so cause and effect is the relationship between what happens and why it happened. The cause is the why it happened. The effect is what happened as a result of the cause. So let's see if you can identify a cause and effect relationship found in this story. The Boston Tea Party was an act of political protest by the American colonists against the British government in December 1773. At the time, tea was a very popular drink, both in Britain and in the colonies. Tea was provided to the colonies by the British company called the East India Trade Company. If the colonists wanted tea, they had no choice but to buy it from this company and pay a high tax on it, extra money above the price of tea that would go to the British government. The colonists were unhappy with this arrangement because they felt that if their money was going to benefit the British government, then they should be represented in Parliament, meaning they ought to have some voice in the laws that are being made for them from halfway around the world. They had asked for this many times already, but the British government had not responded to them. To show their unhappiness with the arrangement, when the 3 ships arrived to the colonies carrying tea, the colonists refused to pay taxes. Instead, they directed the ship to return to England. When the ship did not leave, the colonists looked for another way to send a strong message back to the British government and decided to throw the tea into the ocean. A group of protesters disguised as Mohawk Indians boarded the ship and threw the entire cargo, 342 chests of tea, into the water. You may think that throwing tea into the water wouldn't send much of a message to England, but the chest contained about 90,000 pounds of tea. In today's money, the tea that was destroyed was worth about $1 million. No one knows for sure whether or not the colonists planned the protest. Earlier that same day, there is historical record of there having been a town meeting to discuss the problem of tax on tea and what to do about it. But there is no way to tell whether or not the possibility of the protest was discussed at the meeting, or whether people just decided to take action in the heat of the moment. So, what is the cause and effect relationship in this story? Well, one cause and effect relationship that I see is that the colonists were unhappy about having to pay taxes on tea because they weren't being represented, and the effect was they decided to have this protest where they threw all the tea into the Boston Harbor, into the water. Do you see any other ones? Let me know tomorrow if you saw one. Alright, so let's take a look at your homework. Your homework tonight, make sure you copied the definitions into your craft folder and be ready to have an entrance card tomorrow on cause and effect. Alright, talk to you in the morning.